You did everything they told you to do. You followed the script with religious discipline. You studied, you worked late, you stayed loyal, you saved what you could, you avoided bad risks, you waited your turn. And yet here you are, older, more tired, more anxious, watching the finish line move further away every year. You feel it in your body before you admit it in your mind. The quiet dread when bills arrive, the dull resentment when someone half as disciplined as you accelerates past, the creeping realization that effort alone is no longer enough, if it ever was. This is not failure. This is awakening. You are not falling behind because you are lazy or incompetent. You are falling behind because you were trained for obedience, not dominance. You were taught a moral chorality, not a financial strategy. A philosophy designed to produce stable workers, not dangerous owners. The treadmill was never meant to take you somewhere. It was meant to keep you busy, tired, grateful, and dependent. Look around carefully. Who is actually winning? Not the hardest worker, not the most honest, not the most patient. The winners are those who control leverage, systems, and access. They are not playing the same game you were taught. They abandoned it long ago. This is the first betrayal no one warns you about. The advice that sounds virtuous is often strategically suicidal. Just work hard, be loyal, save diligently. These are instructions for maintaining the machine, not escaping it. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. Power does not reward virtue. Power rewards clarity, decisiveness, and positioning. The modern economy is not a meritocracy. It is a battlefield of incentives, asymmetries, and hidden rules. And you were never taught to see it that way. You were taught to moralize your exhaustion, to interpret struggle as character building, to believe that if you just endure long enough, fairness will eventually intervene. It will not. The discomfort you feel is not jealousy. It is your instincts rebelling against a lie you have outgrown. After a certain age, ignorance is no longer innocence. It is surrender. This manifesto is not here to comfort you. It is here to strip away illusions, to force you to see money not as virtue or reward, but as power, leverage, and command. This is the moment the old story collapses, the treadmill stops, and the real game finally comes into view. Hard work is the most seductive lie ever sold to ordinary people. It feels noble, it feels clean, it feels fair, and that is precisely why it is so effective as a tool of control. Machiavelli would have dismantled this myth without hesitation. Effort on its own is meaningless. Results come from strategy, not sweat. History is not shaped by those who work hardest, but by those who position themselves where effort is multiplied by systems, by leverage, by other people's labor and capital. Look carefully at the world. The people whose bodies are most exhausted are not the ones who own the most. The ones lifting, driving, cleaning, assembling, grinding for 12 hours a day are not the ones accumulating power. They are expending life to survive. Meanwhile, ownership quietly compounds elsewhere. Hard work without leverage is self-cannibalism. You are consuming your own time, energy, and youth for a fixed return. That is not virtue. That is inefficiency. The warehouse worker works hard, The owner of the warehouse works strategically. One sells hours, the other commands systems. One wakes up tired, the other wakes up richer than yesterday without lifting a finger. This is not injustice, this is structure. You were taught that effort equals reward because that belief keeps you compliant. It prevents you from asking more dangerous questions. Who owns the asset? Who controls the system? Who benefits from my exhaustion? Who gets richer if I keep believing this story? Machiavelli warned rulers never to rely on the goodwill of the masses. The modern system followed his advice. It replaced overt force with moral conditioning. You were taught that ambition is greedy, that risk is irresponsible, that wanting power is immoral. Meanwhile, those who ignored that teaching rewrote the rules. This is why hard work feels increasingly futile, because the economy has evolved, but the advice has not. You are bringing muscle to a leverage war. You are bringing obedience to a power contest. The truth is brutal but liberating. No one is coming to reward you for trying. The market does not care how hard you struggle. It cares what you control. The moment you understand this, guilt dissolves, shame evaporates. You stop asking, "Why am I not being rewarded?" and start asking, "Where is the leverage?" This is not about abandoning effort. It is about redirecting it. Effort must be used to build positions, assets, and systems that outlive your labor. Otherwise, you will work until you are empty and call it virtue. Saving money is presented as wisdom. In reality, for most people, it is sedation. It keeps you calm while your purchasing power erodes quietly in the background. You are praised for restraint, for parking your money in accounts that feel safe. But safety is often just slow decay dressed in respectable language. Inflation is not an accident, it is a feature, and every year your stored effort buys less of the world than it did before. From a Machiavellian perspective, this is almost elegant. You are encouraged to feel responsible while unknowingly subsidizing the system that drains you. Your savings become cheap capital for institutions that understand leverage far better than you were taught to. The wealthy do not worship cash, they weaponize it. They understand that idle money is dying money. Cash is not a destination, it is ammunition. It exists to be deployed into assets that produce more cash or grow faster than the currency is debased. Saving feels productive because it requires sacrifice, but sacrifice without strategy is just obedience in disguise. You are not building wealth, you are delaying collapse. The most dangerous lie is that all debt is evil. This keeps you from learning the difference between destructive debt and strategic debt. Debt used to consume is a trap. Debt used to acquire productive assets is leverage. One enslaves you, the other multiplies you. The system depends on you never learning this distinction. Your fear of debt keeps you small, cautious, predictable. Meanwhile, those who understand it use debt to control real estate, businesses, and infrastructure at scale. This is not reckless, it is calculated. Machiavelli did not fear tools because they could be misused. He feared ignorance. The same applies here. Saving without deployment is retreat. It is the posture of someone who does not intend to win, only to survive. And survival is expensive. It costs you opportunity, power, and time. Once you see this, your relationship with money changes permanently. You stop hoarding. You start positioning. Every dollar is judged by its potential to expand influence, not its ability to sit quietly. This is not comfort, it is clarity, and clarity is the first step toward power. Income is loud. Power is quiet. The mistake most people make is confusing the two. Society worships salaries, titles, and revenue figures, but Machiavelli would ignore them entirely. He would look instead at the gap, the distance between what you earn and what you consume. The gap is not savings, it is compressed potential. It is capital waiting for orders. It is the difference between appearance and control. A high income with a narrow gap is fragile. A modest income with a wide gap is lethal over time. The gap determines who can act and who must react. It determines who negotiates from strength and who negotiates from fear. Every dollar you commit to lifestyle is a dollar removed from strategy. This is not asceticism, it is preparation. The powerful do not deny themselves pleasure out of virtue, they delay it to accumulate leverage. They understand that consumption is surrender unless it produces return. Lifestyle inflation is one of the system's most effective weapons. It ensures that even rising earners remain dependent. The treadmill simply accelerates, comfort becomes a cage, appearances replace autonomy. The gap is what allows you to buy assets when prices fall, to invest when others retreat, to create when others cling. It is the source of your war chest, your optionality, your freedom of movement. The masses focus on income because income feels like progress. The powerful focus on accumulation because accumulation is irreversible. Once the gap compounds, it begins to bend reality in your favor. Control the gap and you control time. Lose it and no income will save you.
Machiavelli warned rulers never to rely on mercenaries. Dependency is weakness disguised as convenience. In the modern economy, a single income stream is the equivalent of mercenary loyalty. It vanishes the moment conditions change. One job feels safe because it is familiar, but safety that can be revoked by another person is not safety. It is permission. If one employer controls your survival, your speech, your risk tolerance, and your future are already compromised. The wealthy do not ask for permission, they build redundancy. Multiple income streams are not luxuries, they are defenses against coercion. Each stream reduces dependence, each one restores autonomy. Your job is not your identity. It is your first investor. It is seed capital, not destiny. The goal is not to quit immediately, but to convert earned income into independent cash flow until obedience becomes optional. Dependency disciplines behavior. Independence unlocks strategy.
Time is the most misunderstood resource. You cannot store it. You cannot scale it, yet most people insist on trading it directly for money. This guarantees a ceiling. Leverage is how the powerful escape that ceiling. Financial leverage uses other people's money. Time leverage uses other people's effort. Media and knowledge leverage multiply impact without multiplying labor. The wealthy build machines, businesses, assets, systems. They do not ask how much they can endure. They ask what they can design. One system properly constructed outperforms a lifetime of effort. Leverage is not about laziness. It is about architecture. The general does not fight. He positions. Those who reject leverage out of fear remain soldiers forever. Talent wasted in the wrong environment is indistinguishable from incompetence. Positioning determines outcomes long before effort enters the equation. The powerful study capital flows, technological shifts, and institutional incentives. They move early, quietly, and deliberately. They do not chase trends, they position ahead of inevitabilities. Being in the right room matters more than being the smartest person in it. Proximity is power. Networks compound faster than skills. You are not fixed. You are a strategic asset. Where you place yourself determines what is possible. Money is not just a medium of exchange. It is a pressure system, a diagnostic tool, a way to reveal loyalty, ambition, resentment, and dependence. The powerful understand that generosity is strategy, not sentiment. They give to bind, to test, to shape behavior. They build ecosystems of advantage that others fear to leave. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. The game is being played whether you consent or not. You can remain a moral pawn, or you can become a strategic actor. The rules do not change, only your understanding does. After 30, neutrality is surrender. The choice is simple. Be governed by systems you refuse to understand, or master the systems that govern you.